TikTok has been eating away at my attention span, as I'm sure it probably has yours as well. And I just noticed that, while trying to think of a topic for today's video, I was paying attention to my own thoughts. And I realized that I was almost acting like an AI model. I wasn't thinking farther ahead or strategically trying to get to a point. My thoughts were coming one word at a time. And I was trying to guess where the thought should go, but I wasn't really planning ahead with it. And so I thought about that for a moment, and I realized that this has become my default form of thinking. I used to be ahead of myself. I used to be a sentence, maybe 2 or 3 ahead of myself. I used to have multiple concepts that I would be working to as I spoke. And this made it much easier to articulate myself. Because rather than having to come up with an interesting thing to say and an interesting way of saying it all in the same moment, I had the idea, I was working towards it, and I knew vaguely what it was, and I could find the words to lead me there. And it just came across as a lot more natural. It came across as a lot more persuasive and interesting, and I need to start practicing that again. Just behind me, I was doing a bit of research on my computer, trying to figure out what this is, and it seems to be a habitual thing that I assume many other people are experiencing with the way that we consume media nowadays. Everything is short, quick, to the point. There's no need to be planning ahead. There's no need to be thinking like that, and I think that is, first of all, just a very sad way of living life. But secondly, if you've watched this channel for a while, if you've seen some of my other videos, you know that the reason I started was not to gain millions of subscribers, though if millions of you are watching, I wouldn't be opposed to you pressing that subscribe button. But really, the purpose was just to practice speaking, to practice articulating myself. Because I have the fundamentals. I know how to speak in a good cadence, I know how to speak with good energy, and I have interesting things worth listening to. But what I don't have is the skill of simultaneously planning all the little places I'm going to get to while also slowly working through them. And what I've realized recently, as I've been trying to improve my speech, when I listen to people whose speaking abilities I admire, they speak a lot slower. And even when I was just looking for generic speaking advice, that was one of the things they told me was slow down, don't be in such a rush. And as I'm doing this right now, one of the realizations I'm having is that will give me more time to plan ahead. I can spend time articulating, getting to what I know the next point is, and then I can take a breath and find the next place to go. Unless I can't. Shoot, I can't. Where do I go from here? I don't know what to do. Oh God, okay. Maybe I need a little bit more practice at that. I've been thinking about taking improv classes recently, kind of for that same reason. I used to be so witty, I used to be so sharp with it, and I know that I still have the mental foundations to do so, but I've just completely lost touch with that side of me. I've completely lost the practice I used to have, and it's really showing. It's really showing. Man, I used to really pride myself on being so good at breaking the ice, being so witty, so good at talking to people, and now I've lost it. My confidence would go through the roof when I get back to where I was. If I could feel confident speaking to people again, that would really change my life. And so I'm going to keep practicing, even when I don't have the most compelling topics. I'm going to come here, I'm going to record a video, and I'm going to keep getting better. I haven't yet. One thing I need to do is I need to look back. I need to watch my old videos and see what I could be doing better, because I know there are so many things I could be doing better. But in this video, another thing I was really trying to do was what do you mean another thing you're trying to do? I was trying to slow down. And now I'm trying to like laugh at myself and be a bit more human because I've been so busy presenting that I haven't really tried to connect. And those are two very different skills. So it is really tough. I've mentioned this in so many videos. It is really tough to do a monologue like this. And so far, I've usually come into it with a rough idea of what I want to talk about, but I don't have a script. I don't have key points written down. And maybe that's my mistake as well, is, to be fair, the best speakers that I've listened to, they don't just come into it blind, right? They get there in a natural way, but they have a rough idea of the points they want to hit on and the things they want to talk about. So maybe part of this is a preparation side issue. Maybe part of this is the fact that I should be putting more effort into giving these speeches altogether. But as for right now, I think it is an interesting creative test. I've heard a few times now from, I think Colin Samir said this, creativity thrives with constraints. If I were to tell you to draw a picture, you can draw a picture. But if I were to tell you, you can only draw a cat, you can only use the color blue and green, I mean, that doesn't sound like, might not look like much of a cat, but it'll give you something different. It'll give you something unique. And so ironically, by taking away choices, you can end up with something very unique and very interesting. And it can, at the very least, it can be a good exercise so that later on, when you are allowed to use cat colors to draw your cat, you'll be able to do it much better because you've probably learned things about shading. You've learned how to use different colors and contrast in a way that you wouldn't have learned otherwise. I'm not a painter or a drawer. I might be completely wrong, so don't take my word for it. It might not be the best metaphor. But with speaking, one day I'm going to have a script. One day I'm going to be able to edit these. One day I'm going to have a clear idea of what I'm talking about when I get into it. And when I do, it's going to be so easy. I'm going to have all these tools at my disposal that most people start with. But because I started without those tools, because I started by just talking, by yeah, I keep making up the word yambling. I've said it in like 5 videos now. Yambling. It's not a word. Hold on, is it a word? See, I was making a really interesting, coherent point. I was finally catching my stride there, and now I'm on Google asking if yambling's a word. Is yambling a word? It's not. It's not. No, it's not. It is now. Yambling. That's how I feel. I feel like I'm yambling. Babbling on. Yambling. You know what I mean when I say yambling, though. That's why it may as well be a word, because... Okay, you know what? The AI can't even figure out what I'm trying to say. It thinks I'm trying to say yodeling or gamble or gambling, so maybe you don't know what I'm saying when I say yambling on. But because I'm developing this skill, see, we're coming back. Usually I wouldn't be able to remember what I was talking about. I'm kind of able to now. I'm not completely sidetracked because I'm practicing this skill of yambling on and on and on. This is so bad. But because I'm pushing myself to an extent that is not natural, speakers usually don't go this long without any direction. I'm forcing myself to find words, and I don't know, maybe I'm just making an excuse. Maybe I should start putting more effort into writing scripts for these so that I can actually practice a more useful version of yambling. But that's all I got for today.